My name is Russell Berman. I know many of you. I'm happy to meet some new friends this afternoon. Before I launch into some reflections on Telos and share the podium with others who will have more to add, I really want to say that the journal inspired by Paul, founded by Paul, could not be thriving today if it were not for Mary. Mary is the one who deserves enormous credit for, as she said, bringing her corporate world acumen to a band of financially challenged humanities professors. And she has made this a business that works. And she's done this through her smarts and through her dedication and through her selflessness and her generosity. So I really can't begin this afternoon without asking you to join me in a standing ovation. I know she will berate me for embarrassing but truth be told, that is the truth. This afternoon, I'm going to make a few brief remarks, as brief as I possibly can be, remarks about Telos. I'm going to then ask some of my editorial colleagues, Tim Luke, Adrian Paps, David Pan, to say some things relevant to the Telos project, and we're just the warm-up band for Jake Siegel, who will talk about some of our literary work. Have more to say about Jake in a moment. Telos at its 50th anniversary of an independent journal. That's pretty remarkable in this culture industry. I thought about spending time talking about the past, but that in some ways would be inimical to the Telos project itself, which is always about the future. So what is this Telos project? A journal that has been characterized by the lack of a party line, of a singular focus. It's not Jacobin unanimity. It's about a multiplicity of voices, the kind of multiplicity that makes up any community. We're the journal that promoted Adorno in this country and the journal that promoted Schmidt, and if you can figure that out, I owe you a drink. There is a common denominator, but I won't belabor that at this point. But more concretely, Ken Johnson, who is here, where's Ken, has just edited this really marvelous issue on Martin Luther King. The idea was, 50 years Telos, founded in May of '68. There's so much other 50 years going on, but we thought that it'd be really important to talk about 50 years of Martin Luther King's assassination. And so thank you. And it fits into our agenda too, because one of the themes in the issue is the way that the legacy of the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. in many ways has had its reverend character sort of extirpated. He's turned into a kind of secular civil rights hero, and the whole Christian natural law aspect has been subject to a kind of repression. So that's very Telos. So that was the last issue. Now we have our 50th issue, and in the fall, Helen Shin is doing an issue on Korea. We planned Korea, and what happened? Unification is on the horizon. This goes to show you the power of power of Telos. But I point this out because some of the journals that we were benchmarked with, that we grew up with, were born in a kind of world of Euro-critical theory, and we still do that, Adorno, Schmidt. But we also do King and Korea, and we've had China issues. And I think what's really great about Telos is that it's been able to take this intellectual imagination and move it globally, to talk about a much wider range of issues than is normally the case, which sort of brings me to the second point. It's not just that we're diverse It's that we've been willing to explore heterodox positions. We, especially those of us who are in higher education, but otherwise, should recognize that we have a problem with the kind of limitations on the scope of discussion that can take place without sanctions, and it's disturbing. I was just at Stanford involved in a case trying to defend a scholar of South Asia, himself South Asian, very much sort of critical of British Empire, et cetera, et cetera. He wasn't critical enough, and for that reason got turned down for tenure. This kind of stuff happens too often, and somehow we've got to figure out a way to re-liberalize, if that's the right word, the intellectual scale. Anyhow, we've been prepared to take on these kinds of issues, and maybe even, I don't know, more important or additionally important. Sometimes critical thinking in higher education turns into a mandate for absolute cynicism about everything. If you doubt the veracity of any claim, that counts as critical thinking. And somehow that's not sufficient. There has to be a positive. There has to be some kind of capacity to appreciate legacies, to appreciate aspirations, and not denounce them from the get-go. And I think that combination of the aspirational and the critical is one of the hallmarks of Telos. A third is, I'm thinking about Paul now particularly, we're living through this populist moment with all that it means, right? All of the coarse rhetoric on the one hand, all of the stuff that is legitimately problematic about it, but also recognizing that it responds to objective phenomena. We've gone through 20 years of globalization that has made some people very rich and left other people on opioids. And people are not happy about this. And that is leading to, well, the Italian election, but Syriza on the left, or Podemos on the left, or Italy on the left and right at the same time. And that's one of the examples of how the political calculus of the past 20, 30, 40 years is being reshuffled. I just mentioned Italy, but all the more so the tragedy in Syria. I see Mohammed Ghanem has just walked in. The demographic re-engineering would be the sterilized designation of what is ethnic cleansing, and this catastrophe that is happening is part and parcel of this political landscape as well. Finally, I guess, Telos and the future. Telos means goal. Sometimes it gets associated with this notion of a teleological thinking, the notion that there's a definitive end to history. That was in 1989, by the way. But of course, that's not what it ever meant for us. Telos always just meant the open horizon. The open horizon that humans ask and act in an aspirational way to try to do something new without repressing the past, to build on legacies in order to be creative. And that combination of backward-looking and forward-looking is the particular dialectic, if I may, that I think Telos inherited from the various sources that it drew on, and of course that I think was crucial to Paul's teaching. One of the people I've been working with at Telos for the longest time is Tim Luke from Virginia Tech, and I'm going to ask Tim to say a few words now, please. Okay.